5 British engineers, Giorgetto Giugiaro, a couple of Morris Marinas, and a missing concept car. This is a Hyundai Pony story. In 1973, the Korean state-run Economic Planning Board developed their long-term plan for the automobile industry. In a policy shift of building cars from complete knockdown kit partnerships, the government tasked Korean automobile manufacturers to submit detailed plans to develop a Korean car by 1975 as a plan to build an import substitution economy. Hyundai, who'd been assembling the Ford Cortina from 1968, soon submitted their master plan for the new plant, with a capacity of 80,000 cars per year. However, for Hyundai to put their plan into action, they turned to British automotive executive George Turnbull. He was then managing director of Austin Morris, and within 2 years of landing in Korea, he would have already helped the company produce his own first car. Recruited on a reputed £80,000 salary, the equivalent of £841,000 today, expectations for the project were high. Turnbull left his role in British Leyland in the aftermath of the British Motor Holdings and Leyland Motors merger. Apparently, as a leaving gift, he was allowed to take any car from their lineup. He left with 2 Morris Marinas, a sedan and a coupe, cars he himself had been heavily involved with and which would be used by the Hyundai team as a base to develop the Hyundai Pony. He arrived with 5 other top British car engineers: Kenneth Barnett as body designer, engineers John Simpson and Edward Chapman, John Crosswaith as chassis engineer, and Peter Slater as chief development engineer, and of course a Morris Marinas saloon and coupe as reference points. Therefore, it wasn't a coincidence that the Hyundai Pony would actually share some of the look and feel of the Morris Marina, as it was George Turnbull's stated ambition to improve upon the last design he'd been involved with. George would also be a bit of a hero back home, by placing orders worth £32 million, around £336 million worth in today's figures, for British engineering equipment. Ironically, £2 million worth of jigs and dies were supplied by his old employer, British Leyland. Whilst there were high levels of investment in engineering machinery, the same could not be said for factory conditions. Even with no heating in the factory and temperatures down as low as -7, there were still no strikes, walkouts or other industrial disputes that had blighted Turnbull's last employer, British Leyland. With no domestic styling or design capabilities at its headquarters in Korea, Hyundai reached out for help to a budding young designer, Giorgetto Giugiaro. He would design and blueprint 5 Pony prototypes, one of which was a coupe. At the 1974 Turin Motor Show, the world would get to see the first fruits of the project, with the reveal of the Giugiaro-styled Pony coupe concept, which would give the world the first indication of the production car's design. This 70s show car's wedge profile, strong surface treatment and body colour painted bumpers, with a cut-off tail, did make the Pony an innovative-looking car for the early 70s. But that would be the last we would see of the pretty-styled Giugiaro coupe. Or would it? Giorgetto subsequently said, "I designed the Hyundai Pony when I was still a young designer, at the very start of my career. I was tasked with creating a technically valid concept targeting the middle class. I felt very proud that I was in charge of creating a production vehicle for a country that was about to face a fiercely competitive market." The Pony name itself came out of a 5-week naming contest. Advertising newspapers with a car as a prize, they received nearly 60,000 nominations. Other popular names such as Arirong, a type of folk song, or Duraji Bellflower, thankfully lost out to the Pony, which was a name submitted by around 100 people and apparently resonating very well with a female university audience. The car itself was in engineering terms relatively simple, with a contemporary rear-wheel drive layout, a solid rear axle and leaf springs, but it would also make use of some parts carried forward from the Ford Cortina, which Hyundai had been assembling from kits for some time. The engine, transmission and suspension were all from a previous generation of Mitsubishi Lancer, while the brakes, instruments, clutch and steering gear were actually British made, and the whole package was clothed in Giugiaro's stylish hatchback body. Going on sale at the end of 1975, it was an immediate Korean sales hit in the domestic market. In 1976, Pony's domestic passenger car share was 44%. and often the first car many Koreans had ever owned. It was no surprise that within a year of starting production, Hyundai was already profitable, a remarkable achievement for an automotive startup venture. Export success wasn't very far behind either, as in 1976 Hyundai began sending cars to South America and then to Europe in 1979. Unfortunately, it didn't meet the emissions regulations for the USA, but it did meet the Canadian regulations. Combined with Canada's desire to partner with the emerging Korean economy, the Canadian authorities even gave it tax concessions. The net result allowed the Pony to be priced at just $5,795, and even the well-equipped GLS version was just $900 more, undercutting all its natural rivals. Hyundai hugely undercalled their sales forecast, and instead of the planned 5,000 vehicles in the first year, they sold a staggering 25,000 cars. In fact, within a couple of years, it would be Canada's best-selling passenger car. Pony exports to the UK began in spring of 1982 with experienced concessionaire International Motors, making the Pony the first South Korean car to reach UK shores. The £3,177 asking price for the basic three-door Pony would only buy you the much smaller Fiesta 950 Popular or Vauxhall Nova 1 litre, and undercut similar-sized direct rivals, the 1 litre Escort or Astra 1.2S, by 20 to 25%. However, the Pony was still positioned above budget brands Lada and Skoda. The cars were well equipped with convenience features, remote unlocking tailgate via a lever next to the driver's seat, luggage space lamps, a load space cover, laminated windscreens, reclining front seats, and even a cigarette lighter. Equipment not necessarily standard equipment for many rivals. Hence, it was no surprise that this combination of competitive pricing, Japanese drivetrains and high specifications would ensure Hyundai would gain 150 dealers in the UK by 1985. Even with a limited model range comprising of the Pony and the larger Cortina-sized saloon, the Stella. UK growth was such that Hyundai's market share grew from 0.5% in 1993 to 1.2% by 1997, and in December of the same year the giant motor group Lex paid £20 million for the complete ownership of the UK import franchise for Hyundai, having already bought 50.1% in 1993. And Hyundai's annual sales continued their upward trajectory, increasing from 28,000 in 2008 to 61,000 in 2011. By 2015, and now under direct factory control, Hyundai Motor Company celebrated reaching the milestone of 1 million UK car sales and securing an impressive market share of 3.5% since it began back in 1982. So what happened to that first model, the Pony, the one that put Hyundai on the track to becoming a global automotive giant? The first generation car would run from 1975 to 1982, with almost 300,000 units finding homes, and the Pony model would remain in production until 1990, with its nameplate in use until the year 2000 on some export versions of other models. But that isn't quite the end of the Hyundai Pony story. Giugiaro and Hyundai kept close ties for a while. After the Pony and its facelift, Giugiaro designed its successor named the XL, and then in 1982 he designed the elegant Stella sedan. But his final project was the 1988 Sonata, as Hyundai then decided to bring all styling in-house. However, fast forward to April 2021 and Hyundai unveiled the Heritage Series Pony, a pony reimagined for the 21st century with a full EV powertrain and destined for display in Hyundai's then new Motor Studio in Busan in South Korea. The Heritage Series Pony again showed the iconic origami folded paper-like design with a retro silhouette but combined with a matte silver finish this time and camera-based bumper-mounted exterior mirrors and pixelated headlights and taillights. But what happened to the pretty Pony Coupe concept with its entirely unique body? Unfortunately, the challenging economic conditions of the late 1970s meant the coupe didn't actually make it to production, and the project was eventually abandoned, and the prototype vanished forever, believed to have been crushed sometime in the 1980s. In May of 2023, to mark the 50th anniversary celebration of the Hyundai Pony coupe concepts reveal at the 1974 Turin Motor Show, Hyundai once again called on Giugiaro, and together with his son Fabrizio and their company GFG Style, they would recreate the lost pony using original specifications and materials. The recreated Pony Coupe concept was unveiled at Hyundai's reunion event in Italy, returning to the country where the car was first unveiled. Whilst the Pony Coupe concept's significance can't be underestimated, at the time Hyundai was a relatively unknown brand, but that show car signalled its bright future. Whilst the coupe version never made production, its origami-like exterior design went on to inspire future modern Hyundais. The Hyundai Pony, built with British automotive experience, by British engineering, using British equipment, and a couple of Morris Marinas for reference, would make it a domestic national treasure and give Hyundai the fast start to become the business it has today, the third largest automotive manufacturer in the world. So thanks again for joining me on Lot 76 Cars. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like, share, subscribe, turn on notifications so as not to miss my next video. And once again, thanks for watching.